You still haven't convinced me to watch Free. They swim. Okay. I have to watch this now.
This is the ocean.
Join the...
There's a man with shark teeth.
There's a man with shark teeth.
Shark teeth.
You'll understand what it's like to be a girl watching a straight guy's anime.
I already do that. I mean, I already understand what it's like to be a grown man watching Yu-Gi-Oh! So, it can't be that much different. And there's a guy with shark teeth in there somewhere, I'm sure. But, yes, I think that's about it. I don't really watch that much anime, actually.
Next, what did you end up doing with the lemons?
What did
from
I
last
want?
night? The lemons from last night. What did you end up doing with them?
I think I left them in my friend's room. But there was something... Somebody mentioned on a panel I was on earlier about fan fiction that lemons refer to a specific kind of fanfic.
Really dirty fanfic.
I always thought that lemon was just a generic term for dirty fan fiction, but what is a lemon fanfic specifically?
Really dirty, and then lime is
really dirty.
Lemon
is oh, okay. I shouldn't have asked.
I did not know that.
I should have brought the lemons with me. I really should have, because I considered biting, like trying to eat one of them on the panel. That wouldn't have gone well.
Still think it should have gone up your nose.
I got my nose, yeah. What would be a good thing to do with the lemons?
Lemon party.
Lemon party. What is it?
Lemon Party is a website with a single image on it.
Is that real?
Yes, it is a website with one image on it.
Is it a lemon?
No.
If you don't know.
Should I spoil it for you?
Yeah, spoil it for me.
It is 3 aged men naked in a awkward position.
I'm not doing that. Thank you for warning me. Yeah, they're still intact. They've not been eaten yet.
Do you ever get the sense that you need to be locked up in the penitentiary for your appendicitis?
Yes.
Another inmate. Woo!
Is that everything?
Well, I do want to see Merrick, so I have to ask this. You want to go for a drink after the class at some point?
I'm actually trying to restrict how much I drink. Like I said earlier, I'm on a diet, so I'm trying to avoid alcohol. But one day, maybe next year, if you guys ask for me back next year, I'll get totally wasted and do this panel, and we'll see what happens. Then you'll know what the roast was like. He came from this direction, was it? He came from that. Okay, we're over here. Hello.
So this was my first anime. Unabridged was my first anime that I ever watched.
It's not really an anime. Well, I guess it is an anime.
Well, it's my first thing that I ever watched.
That's cool then.
And
That's
I loved
really cool.
it.
Oh, thank you.
So I have a friend who also watches it, and she came here today.
Oh.
I was wondering if you could say something for her.
Yeah, what am I saying?
Anything with like Merrick or Malik. She'd love that.
And what was her name?
Taylor.
Is this being filmed over here?
I asked you to hold it.
Okay. So, you just start moving to start right now?
Sure.
Hey, Taylor, this is Manic Sebastian Ishtar III here with, what was your name?
Natasha.
Natasha. And she asked me to tell you that you smell like a butt. Okay, everybody, we have to start chanting Taylor smells. Taylor smells. Taylor smells. Taylor smells. Like a butt. Like a butt. Like a butt. Is that okay?
Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you, Taylor. Okay.
I thought it was alright. We're over here now. Hello again, sir. Hi.
Hello.
Oh my goodness. Hi. Hi. Your voice is going away.
So I wanted to ask you earlier, what are some techniques you use for voice acting in general?
Techniques. Funny story. Yesterday I actually got an audition for a video game, and I was here, and I ended up being like, oh, I don't have a microphone, I can't record with anything that would sound halfway decent. I could record with my laptop mic, but it wouldn't be anything anywhere close to what they need to hear. So I ran around, and I don't know if they're here or not, but the Unabridged group, the Pallet Town Champions, right there, they ended up lending me their mic, and they came up to my hotel room, and I tried this thing that I've been told about where you make a pillow fort. I know this isn't really what you're asking about, but I figured I'd tell the story. We made a pillow fort in my room, and I took my luggage case, and I emptied it, and I put the microphone inside it, and I buried myself under the sheets. And I recorded this audition for about half an hour, boiling underneath these sheets. I was dripping with sweat. I've never sweated that much in my entire life. I sincerely hope to God that I get the role, just because I feel like I think I lost a few years just by doing that. It was crazy. I wouldn't recommend it unless you had to in a pinch. But like, as far as actual voice acting techniques go, I'm really not the best person to ask, because I've been in like 3 actual like professional projects where I've actually had to play a character. But I think I've heard some good advice from certain people, which is, at the end of the day, first of all, don't hold back. That's a very important thing. A lot of people, when they're reading for something, they think of how they themselves are being perceived portraying this character, when really you just have to be that character. Don't think about, you know, whether you sound stupid or whether you sound like you're faking it. You just have to give it your all. And my good friend Erin Fitzgerald says that when she looks at a character that she's auditioning for and she sees what they look like, she puts on their skin in a sense and feels what it's like to walk around as them, which was really interesting advice to me, and I've kind of held on to that whenever I've looked at a character audition piece, and I've actually, because usually, like I said, I try and be goofy with it, I try and make a voice, but I've learned recently that it's not about making up a voice, it's about making up a person. So I've really tried not to stray too far from what feels natural. So that's all I could say personally, because that's something that I've been learning, you know, as I go. I'm sure once I've got a few dozen more projects under my sleeve, I'll be able to tell you more, but I don't know anything else.
Also, you mentioned you're on a diet. Are you on a diet from hugs?
From what?
Hugs.
No, hugs are fine, yeah, seriously. I'm sorry I'm so sweaty. Hey.
Hi, I would just, before I go on with this, I would just like to say that while you were doing that whole Taylor chant, it's kind of awkward, because my name's Taylor, so.
You don't smell like a bus, Taylor.
Thank you.
You smell like a willy. It's okay, though.
Good enough. Okay, I just want to say that you're actually the first abridger that I watched on YouTube. You're one of the first people I actually subscribed to.
Oh, wow.
On YouTube. And,
I'm sorry that I haven't been making more videos and putting my thing in the subscription thing.
Oh, no, it's fine. I mean, I can look through all the old stuff and just
hell yeah.
relive all of the memories from seeing stuff. Like, when I was going through bad times, I would just watch it, and then it would, you know, pep me up, and then I would just carry on with life, I guess.
I'm glad, man. Are you doing okay now?
Yeah, no, everything's fine. I have a job, I'm going to college, everything's moving on.
That's awesome.
I was just wondering if there was ever a certain point in your YouTube career where you like had the internal thought, oh man, I'm making it pretty big. Like,
Yeah, there was, like I said, there was a time when I couldn't go on a forum website or anything like that without seeing people talking about the videos. And for a long time, I was a shut-in. I was a guy who couldn't leave the house without somebody. I couldn't talk to strangers. I couldn't do anything that normal people do. And it took about 5 years for me to overcome that. And one of the things that helped me was in 2009, when I'd finally actually started coming out of my shell a little bit, I went to a couple of conventions. One was called Alcon in England, and I went there with a friend, and I ended up meeting a lot of people who were very enthusiastic, and I was like, well, this is pretty nice. People are just, you know, it's not so much that they're my fans, it's almost like they're my friends, you know? And then I went to this show called Youmacon, which was in Detroit. This wasn't the time where I got crazy wasted. I went there, it was the first time I went, and I met Team 4-Star for the first time ever, face to face. It was their first time meeting as well. They'd never met each other in real life. And I vividly remember that it was one of the best experiences I've ever had. That we instantly hit it off. We went all over the place. We had so much fun. We stayed up till all hours of the night, just hanging out and going crazy and partying. And at the end of that weekend, I had no idea what was going to happen after that. I didn't know if any of the conventions would be interested in having me. And it started to hit me on the Sunday, and I'm sure a lot of you guys have felt this when a convention's coming to a close and you start to see less people in the corridors of the hotel, and there are less cosplayers, and people are just sort of slowing down. And you start to think, oh God, it's nearly over, it's going away, and who knows if it's going to happen again. You know, even if it happens next year, that's a year, you're going to have to wait. So I saw Team 4-Star heading towards me in the corridor, and they were like, hey man, will you take it off soon? And I was like, yeah, I am. And I started crying. And then they were like, oh, don't worry about it, man, we'll take you wherever you need to go so you can head off. And we went to my room and I got my luggage and we went downstairs. And, but before we went downstairs, we actually held up our hands and we did a friendship circle. And I went downstairs and I was in the lobby and I was crying my eyes out because I was like, I don't know when I'm going to see these guys again, if I'll ever see these guys again. And I got outside and the taxi was waiting for me, and it was the worst. I was a mess. I was breaking down. I hugged each and every one of them and I said goodbye because as far as I knew it was the last time I'd ever see them. And I get in the car and I'm dying, and I look outside and I see them all holding their hands up. And they're just looking at me as I go, and it was really sweet, and it was the greatest memory of my life. So. Yeah, that's what really made me break out of my shell, was meeting the best fans and the best friends that I've ever known. So, that's you guys. Where are we going next? Are we over here? Over here? Hello. You have to follow that, by the way.
You're bleeping awesome.
Oh, you're bleeping awesome too.
And I just wanted to know, by any chance, have you ever heard from or ever talked to David Bowie?
We're good friends, we talk all the time. No, but I love his music, and the reason I made Kakashi David Bowie is because I'm such a huge fan, and I've always wanted to put David Bowie in one of my projects. For a long time ago, I made a bunch of webcomics, and whenever I made these webcomics, I was like, I always wanted to do like a music video with the characters in the comics set to Under Pressure, and I never had the tools or the know-how or the singing talent to do it. I still don't. But I ended up putting David Bowie in the Naruto spoof and having the Under Pressure song just as a sort of treat for myself. And the weird thing about the David Bowie joke is people either think it's the best thing I've ever done or the worst thing I've ever done. Which I would disagree. The best and the worst thing I've ever done is the vagina monologues. But I'm a fan of the David Bowie joke. I think it's silly enough to be, it's silly and surreal enough to be funny. It is. Thank you. Leaving awesome. How much time do we have, by the way?
Enough?
15? Okay, cool. Over here. Hello. Hi.
If you could choose any video game to do a Let's Play, what would you choose and which character would you do it as?
If I could choose any game and which character would play it?
Yeah.
Oh, you see, I get asked this a lot because I do the Marek Plays Bloodlines thing, which is really popular. Oh, I know. I've never said this one. I really want to do Sasuke Plays The Walking Dead. Every time you have to make a choice, it's like, I will do this. No. This is a montage of I think that would be great.
And I was wondering if Ishizu can tell me the future.
Ishizu, you're going to have the greatest anime, well no, you're going to have the greatest another anime con of your life, and you're going to come back next year and it's going to be even better. Over here. Oh my goodness. Hello.
Hello?
What are you cosplaying exactly?
I'm just in my normal clothing.
Oh, okay. Looks good.
Thank you. Alright, well, first of the reference to the comment you're asking, I think Joey playing Animal Crossing.
Why is that?
Why not?
Why not? I think any character playing Animal Crossing would be fun just because
or Tristan.
Tristan, yeah?
But anyways, would you ever consider abridging like a live-action show, like Doctor Who, Supernatural, Walking Dead, something like that?
I tried doing a really stupid comic thing. It wasn't really a comic. It was, I took a bunch of screen caps from Doctor Who, and I just captioned them with dialogue that, like, based on what, like, because it was like an official Doctor Who screen cap resource, and I just placed them one after another in order of what was happening, and I just captioned it like the first shot of the first episode is like planet Earth and the moon, and the planet Earth and the moon were having a conversation, and it was just the stupidest thing, and I called it Spinny Blue Time Box Machine. But as far as abridging a live-action thing, for a while I was considering abridging the Dragon Ball Evolution movie.
Might finally do it justice.
Yeah, it might actually make up for what M. Night Shyamalan did, but I don't know. It would require some very fancy editing, and it would require a lot of patience, because it's not like working with anime footage. But I think it can be done. I do. I think it can be done if the right patience was applied. I don't know what I would abridge, though. Something really stupid. Something Michael Bay-ish.
Transformers!
The Transformers trilogy. Why don't we abridge the Transformers trilogy? Huh? What? The Room?
Manborg!
Sharknado.
Yes.
These are movies that do not need to be abridged. They abridge themselves.
Manborg!
Manborg. That's a good word. Birdemic. That's a great movie. What are you on about? I actually met people who were in the sequel to that. Did the sequel come out yet? Birdemic 2. Yeah, it came out. I met the people who worked on it, and they told me all these stories about it. If I had time, I would tell you them, but oh my god, it sounds like a mess. But yes, did that answer your question?
I guess, yeah. Also, did you ever get your guitar?
I never got that guitar. I've been waiting freaking years.
Did you at least get the job at the Brooklyn Pizza Place?
No, but you know what? If they do end up bringing it, it's been longer than half an hour. I get it for free. Yes.
Silver lining.
I defeated them with logistics and guitars. Excellent. Very nice to meet you. Fantastic. What could that? That was the strangest handshake I've ever had.
All right, we're over here now, I think. Yes. Hello, sir.
Hi, I'm Andrew.
Andrew, nice to meet you.
Well, first, are you allowed to talk about the issues with 4Kids?
Yeah, I can talk about that because 4Kids actually emailed me one time and told me to make sure that everybody knew that they weren't the ones that were ever coming after me. They told me specifically they've never actually flagged my videos themselves. They've never made any attempt to take my videos down or to get rid of me. It's all YouTube and the Japanese bots that are installed onto YouTube to search for footage. There's no human being actually doing that. The unfortunate thing with the system that's in place on YouTube is that anybody who uploads footage, and 91.8 The Fan, which is like a news radio channel for anime fans, they also upload videos talking about news in the anime world, which is all promotional stuff, but their videos get flagged all the time. So it's a flaw in the system that means that anybody who uploads any kind of anime footage, for whatever reason, that isn't the original publisher, will get their videos flagged. And there's nobody to talk to about it, because there's no direct way to contact YouTube. So the only way to deal with it is to submit a counterclaim, which I do every time, and my videos go back up every time. And it's all automated. It's all in a system that they put in place to try and to basically punish everybody rather than punish a number of people that are actually doing the thing that they are trying to stop them doing. So it's a very silly system, but I guess it's either that or chaos. I don't know.
Are you always aware of it? Because I remember it was around the time when they were in the digital world in Yu-Gi-Oh! And you made a joke about the 4Kids membership was censoring everybody.
Yeah, because I thought it was 4Kids, and that was before I received the email. So, I mean, here's the thing: 4Kids are fun to make fun of, just because and unfortunately, it's kind of backfired on me a little bit, just because I went to see the Yu-Gi-Oh! 3D movie in the theaters in New York, and I went to see it with a bunch of friends, and we were in the cinema, and we were looking at the screen, and all the logos came up saying who made the movie. And it goes like TV Tokyo, blah, 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 NAS. And then the 4Kids logo came on the screen, and the entire crowd of like 500 people went, I just sort of slowly shrank in my seat. Because a week previously, the 4Kids people had been premiering it in that very city, so it was like, imagine if they'd been there. But yeah, 4Kids have never had any real issue with me. I've heard enough things to know that they've never had a problem with me.
So then, in terms of making the Bridge movie with Shady Fox and those guys, how did you guys get together and find that all out?
We just talked over Skype about it. I wrote the script, I sent them the lines. See, the problem with collaborations on the internet is that they're not very direct. It's just a case of, in the case of Team 4-Star, they get you on Skype and they talk you through the dialogue and they direct you on it. But in my case, I just send people lines and I say, can you record this? And then they send me a file. It's very boring, but the finished product, because the people involved are so talented, is always great. So I hand it to them for making that movie so great. Shady and Sammy Soma did a great job.
Did they have like any points on the script? Because I noticed that Shady Fox still stuck with his kind of humor with what he shaded.
No, I wrote the script myself.
Wow.
All me. I tried to pay homage to what they did with their shows and their version of the character, but I don't remember if they wrote anything. I don't think they did. I mean, I think... No, I wrote the raps as well, so... I have to take all the credit there. Yeah, that was me.
Alright,
sweet. Nice to talk to you, man. Sweet. How much time do we have? 10 minutes. Okay, cool. Hi. Jack.
Hi.
How's it going?
Pretty good, how are you?
Great, yeah.
So I have two questions. The first one kind of follows up on the last one.
Okay.
So I know you have the LittleKuriboh account, obviously. Card games for the win.
I don't have the LittleKuriboh account, unfortunately. That got taken down a long time ago.
Well, that's what I'm saying, like
right.
the history of
Oh,
your
you
music
had it.
career.
Okay, yes.
Obey My Rod and Unabridged. Are there any other backup accounts for the many times, unfortunately, that videos get taken down?
Oh, there's probably one that I've forgotten about, but those are the main ones. I have... My wife's video account, sometimes I use to upload videos privately and show people what I've been working on. Because unfortunately, when your accounts get flagged for copyright, you aren't allowed to upload unlisted videos anymore. So it's much easier for me to use her account because she doesn't do that sort of thing. I don't know. I can't think of any channels. That's a good question, but I don't think I have any more. What was your second question?
So the other question was, what is your best con horror story?
Oh, good. Okay, I was waiting for a question like this. There are so many. Do you want a depressing one or a funny one?
Both.
Both. Should I start with the depressing one, then go on to the funny one? Yeah! So, I went to Australia in 2010 for this convention called Manifest, and I'm not going to use any names. But this guy who was dressed as the scout from Team Fortress 2 was following me around a lot. He was just an attendee. And he followed me around to the point where I got there at like 9 in the morning. He was still there, like just hovering around me by 3 in the afternoon. And he went away, and then he'd come back the next day and do the same thing. And usually I try to be as patient as possible with people. I try and treat people, as they would want to be treated. If the roles were reversed, if I had met somebody who I admired a great deal, I would want to be like, I want to talk to them and learn everything about them and be their friend and everything. And I just try and be patient with that because I know how that feels. So this guy was very, very aggressive. He was asking a lot of questions, and I just tried to deal with it. I should probably mention that he never used my real name or my internet name. He just called me God. Are you guys hearing me? Did it cut out? Okay. You can hear me? Okay. He just called me God. And he walked around, and then at one point I had to go do a panel, so security had to be like, sir, you have to move away. He has to go do something, and he did. But here's the thing. At one point he gave me a deck for the charity drives that I do, which was very generous and made me go, you know what? He's been somewhat, annoying, and hovering around, but he gave me a thing for charity, so that's really cool, and no issue. So I went away, and on the way back home, I stopped in Vegas to do a convention there. And at my appearance in Vegas, I dueled someone using the deck, and it got caught on video. And he started harassing me a great deal online, creating several different accounts, different identities on Facebook, different identities on Steam, all over the place, basically trying to get me to apologize for using his deck when he gave it to me. Oh, not just apologize for using his deck, but for using his deck without crediting him. And I was just dueling somebody what am I supposed to do? Be like, by the way, this deck was given to me by this good person who led me to this convention. But he started just trying to get me to apologize, and he would say things like, and I'm sure everybody's experienced this before, he would say things like, if you just apologize, I will leave you alone. He said, if you don't say anything, I will stop trying to harass you and I'll just leave you alone. And so I just didn't say anything, and then 4 months later he carried on doing it. It got to the point where he'd just been doing it for so long, I was used to it and I ignored it. Then I was invited back to the convention the next year, and he posted on his Twitter that he bought a gun. Yeah. And he alluded to the fact that he was going to put something right, he was going to make somebody regret what they did, and this was a week before the convention. So he was banned from that convention, and he ended up being, he ended up like emailing the convention being like, I just want to apologize to him. And I'm like, yeah, with a bullet. But yeah, we had to be taken around that show with a security staff member, and like it was a very frustrating and depressing experience because, you know, you go to Australia, you want to have fun, and it's like, I might die. Mind you, that's like any trip to Australia because... But that was the depressing story, and it's not a very good story. I just like telling it because it lets me vent about it, and I'm like, that guy was crazy and it's over. I don't have to worry about it anymore. But the funny story, I want to tell one of the really funny ones. And this one usually gets a big laugh, and there's a lot of build-up, so I apologize for that. But this one does get a big laugh usually. So I did a convention in England where we were doing an 18+ Q&A. And it was me, ShadyVox, X the Dark One, Falero, and Moscow X, and a few other people. And we were all in the main room with a big crowd, and people were just having fun. And we were doing questions and answers, much like this. And the questions are mostly about bridging, and we're like, come on guys, that's something 18+, you know, do something crazy. And somebody puts their hand up and goes, LittleKuriboh, LittleKuriboh. And I'm like, yes, over there. And they go, LittleKuriboh, do you remember at the convention in London in 2010 when you were talking to a friend of ours and he asked you to take a picture with him and you said no because you were too much of a celebrity to do that? How does that make you feel? And I'm like, never happened, for one. If you know me, I will go out of my way to talk to my fans and give them anything they want. Like, I really like try and be as friendly and polite and give people as much time as possible. To the point where I will go for a long time without eating because I keep talking to my fans, and I'm like, because I don't want to be like, I have to go put food in my mouth, I'm ignoring you, you know. That, it got me really incensed because this person had basically just usurped a Q&A session to just be like, you ignored our friend and told him that you were a big deal and you're a jerk. And I'm like, is that really the time and place to do it? Why not come to somebody in private or talk in a non-public event about that stuff? But as I said, it never happened because I know how I behave around people. And I remember the convention in particular, and it was like the third convention I ever went to as a guest. And it was a small convention with like 200 people. There's no way I would go there and be like, I am a big deal. Yes, look at the crowds of people surrounding me. So I got really kind of frustrated with this person. I stood up and was like, yeah, that never happened. And whatever you're saying, you know, doesn't make any sense because these people vouch for me. And I admit, I lost my temper a little bit. Just because I'd never heard anybody say something like this about me before. And it was my first time confronting that sort of issue. So I got upset and I went on a rant, and it was kind of silly of me, but they were yelling back and they were encouraging it, and admittedly both people were in the situation were at fault. I knew for a fact that I was in the right, so I was like, argh. And they were like, and I was like, argh. And then it died down and we finished that, and I sat down and somebody else put their hand up and I was like, let's do the next question, you over here. And the next question was, LittleKuriboh, I read on your IMDb page that you're in the next Untitled Tommy Wiseau project. Is that true? And I looked at them and I said, yeah, they asked me, but I said I was too big of a celebrity to do it.